Greetings from Snake Mountain Boat Works on Friday, October 22, 2023. Here's an update on a major milestone that our 1955 Captivator has blown through. But along with it, several of you have requested, and I'll use that verb instead of the ones you guys have used, that we experiment with a remote mic so that we can hear Joe and Rick as they provide content on each boat. So our Captivator, well, I'll just hand it over to Joe.
Yeah, so last time I'm pretty sure we were doing the bleaching process, which we finally got it all bleached, let the moisture come back down to right around 10 to 15%. And then we went with Mike Mayer's jel'd stain, which in this case we used a post-war. It has a lot of the brown tones, and it looks really close to what Penn had used on theirs. And on these seams, these don't get completely filled with the Sikaflex like most of them. So this one, it's kind of like a shepherd, how it's just got a very little bit of filler in it.
And it's mahogany.
Mahogany Sikaflex. And then it gets the ambered varnish over it. So you're still going to see the valleys in it, which Penn did with these. And once we get the ambered varnish over it, they're going to be a really nice mahogany colored, and it will really pop. But the biggest thing is these seams. So when you're staining these, if you're not getting in all of these seams and getting them completely stained, especially with the one this style, if you don't get it completely stained, once you start going over it with your Sikaflex and you don't cover all the wood, you're going to see it's just going to look awful. So I use a chip brush when I'm applying the jel'd stain, and I'll make sure once I get all the surface, I'll take the brush and actually feed it up and down through the seams, so that way they're completely filled. And a lot of the time you won't be able to get all the stain out of it because jel'd stain's a little thicker. It's not like a filler stain or anything like that. So you want to take the corner of your rag and really just get it out as much as you can, let it dry. That's the biggest thing. If you don't let the moisture content come back down after you stain it, as soon as you go to apply any kind of sealer to it, it's just going to wipe off and it will look awful. So let the moisture content come back down 10 to 15%. Do all of your sealer and let that cure. If you don't let that cure, you're going to have issues with ambered varnish. For some reason, you'll get little bubbles, and it actually will attract a lot of dust. So once you get all your sealer on it, as we did, we're just lightly scuffing it with a little bit of 320. That way your varnish will actually be able to grab onto it and it won't just sit on a surface. That way it's really bonding into the wood. So as we go from there, we're going to be starting, hopefully today we'll be starting our the High Build Ambered Varnish, which is Flagship by Pettit. This is going to receive about 10 to 15 coats of varnish, and every 3 coats will just be a light scuff with 320 or 220 up until we get past 15 coats.
By hand. Right?
By hand. Right. I don't want to use any kind of sander on these until I have just about where I'm getting ready to flat sand it, and that's usually between 15 and 18 coats of varnish before I even touch this with the sander again. So on these, the rails are all blonde, which before in the intake video, they were all this bottom paint color. It was like a milk house paint, white, whatever it was awful. So we got these bleached down, and on top of that, you just start your sealer and then just amber high build, and they'll just be the most blonde oak that you'll ever see. It's a fantastic finish.
Well, that's our update. Our 1955 Captivator Aristocrat is really marching through the preservation process. We'll be back to you soon. She'll look quite a bit different. Thank you so much. Bye-bye for now from Snake Mountain Boat Works.